everyone, welcome to one of our first unique Instagram interviews. Uh, we've done podcasts before, we've done a suitable discussion, the next part of which is coming soon. But this for the first time, we're going to do an author interview completely live on the Kitabi Karwan channel. We have with us today the author of The Fixer, Mr. Suman Dubey. And also, as a lot of you know, we've already been running this contest where you can answer fun questions about cricket and the winners get signed copies by Mr. Suman Dubey himself. And at the end of the interview, Suman will be announcing the name of the winners of this competition that we've been having, which has been really fun. I've gotten really cool responses. A lot of you have written in if there were more questions coming in, but sorry, we just had five. And I'll just add Mr. Suman to the live and we can get started. I hope all of you are enjoying this. I'm just waiting for his account to connect. Okay, there you go. In a minute, we should have. Waiting for this to connect with the at Suman's end. There it is. Hi,
Hello,
Suman.
Siddharth.
Hi,
Hi, how
hey,
are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Suman?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, so I was just telling everyone about your book, and I was telling them about how everyone was really excited about the contest. I mean, thank you for like doing this kind gesture of giving five signed copies away. I know it's a huge deal, and everyone was super excited about it. In fact, I got a few questions, people writing in asking me if I could do more questions for more books.
Oh, absolutely. Maybe after some gap, again
Sure,
with a new set
sure.
of questions. Thanks
Sure,
everyone
sure.
for joining in. It's great to interact with all of you here, and thanks to Siddharth for hosting this. And I'm hoping to have a good discussion here.
No, no, the pleasure's all mine. But Suman, today I'm sorry I'll be putting you on the spotlight instead of just making this a
Sure.
discussion. So my first question that I really want to ask every author, and I think that brings me to the crux of my Instagram channel also, right? Because I run this page simply because I wanted to do this. I wanted to talk to authors. That's about it, and want to
Right.
know more about them, about their writing process, and that's what brought me here. So, you have a very just to start off things, you have a very interesting bio, right? And it talks a lot
Yeah.
about you have experimented with different careers, and that's brought you to to the book. But something that I really wanted to ask you was, can you tell us something about yourself which we won't find on the internet or on the book, like on your book bio, something that will just like tell us about you and give us an insight into your writing process.
Yeah, one of the things many people don't know about me is that I have got this deep thinking going on always inside me.
Okay.
I've written in many places, and also it's there in the bio somewhere that I'm very observant of human nature, and
Yes.
but most people don't know, and it probably will scare them if they come to know about me, that when I see an incident, I see a thought, I see somebody sharing something,
Right.
I will take that up and I will spin it in my head around what can be a story around it, and it's
Very
very
interesting.
and it's very interesting for me, and that's what probably led me to be an author eventually, because the number of stories in my head became so large
Right.
that it had to find its way in the paper. But uh, I'm all the time living in stories. Any incident, even if I see two kids playing, I'll think that okay, maybe. they have a bigger story there, apart from just playing. So
And I think that's the beauty of human nature, right? I mean, this ability to spin stories and just add context to things and make something out of it. It's just really beautiful. But Suman, as you said, like you notice things about people or things around you and turn them into stories or keep spinning them into stories. But why the fixer? What brought you to cricket? Like, what was so compelling about cricket that made you write a book on it or come up with this entire story? And I
yes,
do have just for everyone writing in through comments, just before you answer, I'm so sorry. We will be getting to all questions that are coming through the comments because there is like already a couple that have come in. So please keep them coming. We will be talking to Suman about all of them.
yes. So actually, initially, I did not intend this story to be about cricket.
Oh,
Although
right.
cricket is a game that is very very dear to me. I my father was a cricketer as well, and so was I, and I've watched cricket all my life. I played it all the way to Cornell University. The Americans don't play cricket, but they play baseball.
Yeah,
So you can kind of nudge them into playing cricket, which is kind of similar.
kind of.
So initially, the what I wanted to write about was a theme that was very dominant in my head.
Right.
Coming back to the earlier thing I was telling you of dominant themes and stories this need for redemption, or this need for getting somewhere in life, or the fact that we are always constantly chasing targets, and most of the times it doesn't work out, and even sometimes when it works out, you might find at the end of it that this is not for you. And that explains, going back to my bio, the six different
Right.
industries and the multiple career changes, and
Right.
this constant quest for finding that thing that you were born to do.
Right.
And the unique desperations that come out from that, and the feeling that finally when you have arrived somewhere, you feel, oh, this is the thing,
Right.
only to find. And it was propelled by Oscar Wilde's quote, which I've used in the book as well.
Love.
Quote goes like this: that when the gods wish to punish us, they answer our prayers, which is talking about aspirational regret. That sometimes when you get something after a lot
Right.
of desperation, you find that this is not what it was.
Right.
So that was the starting point, and I really wanted a character that has failed in midlife,
Right.
and only a sportsman fits that bill, because almost everyone, all of us can resurrect our careers even later in life. You have heard of 70-year-old entrepreneurs, and you have heard, of
Right.
people, developing new careers later in life. But sports people,
Right.
Binda, I think there's a you with me, Siddharth?
Yeah, now I am. I think I lost your voice, right? I
Yeah,
think the last phrase was missing. Till the
yeah, yeah.
70-year-old entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So only a sportsman cannot restart his playing career once he has retired.
Right.
I mean, it's time bound.
Yeah.
That would create unique situations and desperations in that person's head. So I was eager to use a sportsman as the central character after I thought through all the other things.
Right.
And I chose cricket because that's the sport I know the most, and it's dearest to my heart.
Right.
And I knew I could write authoritatively on it and spin a story around it. So that from there it came.
And it's such a beautiful thing. I mean, it is also reflected in the story, and like it just gives a lot more context to the entire story, right? When you put it in this spin, because, and I think that's very important for people to know. I think in today's generation, we live in this world where you're just driven towards success, especially particularly in our country, not out of malice, but just about how things are designed.
Yes.
Like as soon as a kid's born, oh, engineer banega, and you should do this thing. You're forced to make decisions too early in your life. You're not told how to deal with failure and things like that. So, I mean, in that context, it's like a very important thing that you've spoken about. But that brings me to my next question, which is also one of the questions that was asked in the comments below. And you've kind of answered it, but I would want you to elaborate on it. I mean, what is the kind of research that goes into your writing? I mean, you've told us how you built on the plot and you got to the first part of it that, okay, you want to write about midlife crisis, you fixed on a sports, centered it around sports. But what's the next step? I mean, and it's also important for me to ask you this question because a lot of my people who are following the page, and I'm sure a lot of your followers as well, which most readers are, they aspire to be secret writers. They
Right.
would really learn from this process.
Right. See, there are two parts to the research. One is the research about writing itself, how to write a book.
Right.
And I have told this before as well, and I want to tell here now that I have worked hard to train myself to be a writer.
Right.
I realized that writing a journal or writing a blog for me, and it might be different for other people, is
Okay.
very different from structuring it into a story that can hold itself over 80,000 words, and deliver
Right.
a satisfying experience to a reader. It comes from a deep sense of respect for the reader's time.
Right.
Because they have many options. They can watch Netflix, they can do Facebook, they can do so many things, and they've chosen to give their time to read my book, and I need to give the value to them. So that research, which I've done a lot. If you
Right.
if you get a if you ever see my Kindle, it is full of writing books
Hmm.
of how to design, how to choose
Right.
POV, how to design plots and things like that. That's one part of
Right.
it. But
Right.
this topic itself, once I decided that I'm going to write about cricket, I read extensively about cricket, the
Right.
various match fixing scandals,
Mm-hmm.
the reaction to them, and more importantly, cricket writing, description of matches.
Mm-hmm.
We read these descriptions in Cricinfo and in other places, and we see how within like 1,000 words or so, somebody can very lucidly write what exactly happened in the match without going ball by ball, because you can't
Right.
really go ball by ball
Right.
in a book or in a writing. That thing really helped me, because in the book, the places where I have described the matches,
Mm-hmm.
especially towards the end,
Right.
that research of how to talk about a match without
Right.
going ball by ball and yet be able to create interest in it was
Right.
was vital for me. And then
Right.
the various match fixing stories as well, which I did not use, but I realized, at least I learned how they work, how they happen. I've read books on match fixing as well. There
Right.
are
Oh wow.
some books. They were not useful from designing the plot perspective, but I at least got educated about the
Right.
universe of it. Who,
Right.
what has been the history of the
Right.
sport.
Right. So, Suman, I actually have a two-part question which broadly deals with the same thing but are two different things altogether. Right. One, so I'm myself a huge cricket fan, and like a lot of people are, right? And this is
Right.
something I've been just noticing over the past 15, 20 years, like particularly with the advent of 2020 cricket, that there's this factor of entertainmentized, if that's a word, or
Yes.
converting a sport into an entertainment, of which match fixing does play a role, right? To the extent that in deciding how the matches are going to be played or how certain things are going to pan out. And sports is something people associate a lot of passion with, right?
Right.
So my question being that, I mean, how have you, what's your take on it? Do you really think that sports are turning into some form of pure entertainment rather than just being, a mixture of some, people actually going out there and playing things? And the second question is, do you think that in today's world, when you have a lot of, this instant content, you mentioned it on while talking about the reader's time, which I believe is a brilliant thing, that for once we have authors who are caring about what
Yes.
readers want to read. In today's world where you have Netflix and you have YouTube, you have Facebook, and in these times, where do sports and books fit in, which are rather demanding of your time to the extent
Yes.
that like you do need to commit a certain minimum amount of time apart from a 2020 match which ends in 3 hours. You have 5 day sports or like test matches or like books which you can read for hours at a stretch. Do you think they're losing relevance as an author? What's your take on this?
Both very interesting questions. The first
Right.
one, which is about entertainment, sports becoming an entertainment, and this is absolutely my opinion. I really think there is nothing wrong with anything being entertainment.
Right.
I think what we miss when we think of entertainment is that it does not require work, or it does not require
Right.
effort or skill or talent. For sports
Right.
to be truly entertaining, your sports people will have to be exceptionally talented, and they have to come on the ground and perform at their best, and more than the best, if I may say so.
Right.
So for it to be truly entertaining. So when
Right.
we say that a sport is becoming entertaining, it has always been entertaining. Now
Right.
I'll give you a small anecdote from my childhood.
Sure.
Back in '83,
Uh-huh.
when India was playing the World Cup final, I'm
Right.
from Jamshedpur. It's a small town is in East India. There
Right.
was no TV then. Okay,
Okay.
and my father was listening to the commentary of that match late in the night on radio,
Right.
and I was too young to understand the
Right.
complicated British English. So I was just lying beside him. And when Kapil Dev took Viv Richards' catch, that famous catch by running backwards, impossible catch, literally. Uh, the whole neighborhood erupted in celebration in the middle of the night. What?
Oh, yeah.
Please tell me this is not entertainment.
That's
The 83 World Cup, and there was a huge procession the next day with banners with Kapil Dev's name, Gavaskar's name, and all that. It has always been entertaining. Obviously, it had not been packaged in the way it is packaged now. And I think it is good, it is entertaining, because that will create better sportsmen. It will create better performance on the field. There is incentive for people to pursue sports because there is obviously larger revenue, larger remuneration, and things like that. So I'm all for it. And for somebody who's been a amateur sports person myself, has played various kind of sports. For me, it was more entertainment than a little bit of fitness probably. But I used to get entertained. Even today when I play squash, it's to get away the drudgery of the evening, somehow. So that's the first part. Second part is, what was the question?
Just the essence of long-term entertainment forms like sports or books in a world where we are surrounded by Netflix and YouTube and Facebook.
Yes. This is exceptionally vital to answer, I think. So you're right that you can watch a Netflix show or a movie even while fiddling with your phone or even talking to somebody or eating chips or whatever. But it's difficult to do that if you're reading, because then you will miss the flow, right? So obviously the reading demands a higher than normal amount of attention from you. Then, so that puts the onus on the authors to make the books, write books in a way that it itself delivers a very unique form of entertainment that you cannot get anywhere. And that which is I experience all the time. I mean, whenever I've read something good, it delivers a form of entertainment which others cannot do. They have their own value. Others, Netflix shows, I watch them all the time. They have their own value, but reading does not need to compete with them necessarily. It can just provide an alternative entertainment. If the books are written in a particular way, and if the authors work harder to make entertaining books, even non-fiction can be entertaining. Everything doesn't have to be a thriller to be entertaining as well. So I'll just end by saying that I think reading and I'll request people to come back to reading if they have stopped. And I can't read as much as I wish I could, but I request you to come back to reading and give it another chance, because it will deliver the good books will deliver a kind of entertainment that you can't get anywhere. And final word, you see what happens is, what is the key difference between watching a scene on show versus on book? In the show, the music, the background music, the setting, the expression of the characters, etc., all add to the experience, right? In a book, all of that has to be described by the author. He has to, through his description, tell you what to smell or what the smell is there,
right?
Or what he can see, or what the mood is, or and things like that. And it's very good. It's highly entertaining. It's very good content if you get to the right book, that is.
That's something really important that you brought up. And when you made that plea, it's actually just taking me back to a few experiences I've had in the past couple of months where, so I've been recommending books to a lot of my friends and followers, right? And a lot of them are first time readers. And they come to me, there are two things I noticed. First, that they come to me with something that, we're bored of Netflix, like that is a reverse form of relevance that books are getting, where people have too much of other this instant content, and they are starved for some deep generational thought generation which only books can give you. And second, what I've realized is that when you pitch someone a book which suits their interest, or is just something that draws them in, it works wonders. Like, I know for a fact that there are some of my friends who don't read at all but will devour your book simply because they love cricket, or they love the idea of a scandal, or they love this fast-paced book which deals with scandal. So I mean, that's something I think we as part of the reading community, like you as an author, me as a reader, or like someone who runs this, have like this slight onus on to kind of slightly keep pushing books. They don't lose relevance, but I doubt they ever will. But now just coming back to slightly lighter things, I've been hearing things about your book being either turning into a show or like going to an OTT platform. Is this true? Can you please like tell us more about this? I'm super excited if this is true.
Yes, yes, it is going to be a show, and in fact, we are
Oh,
in talks with various platforms. I can't
oh,
take names
okay.
yet because nothing is
Sure.
finalized yet.
Right,
But
right.
yes, it is going to be. And what I want to talk a little bit about what that show can do, which the book doesn't do in a way.
Sure.
So the book restricted the entire story into 80,000 words.
Right.
And I had to tell backstories, etc., of these characters only uh, in between the main action. If you stop the
Right.
action, then it becomes difficult to read. A show, and if it's a multi-season show, allows us to explore the past of these characters,
Right.
what made them the way they are,
Right.
and give more space to some of the secondary characters in the book
Right.
to develop on their own.
Right.
And they have high potential of developing. So I'm very excited about that part where, I've got pages and pages of backstories written about
Oh, okay.
these characters, which was part of, Ernst Hemingway had said once that you as an author need to know everything about your character, even if you can't
Right.
include it in the book.
Right.
Because if you don't know, the reader will know you don't know.
Correct.
And I've kind of taken it to the heart because the past shapes the present. It
Right.
in a sense, why the characters are behaving like that, and some of this. So that the show really allows us to explore that the larger thing of this family,
Right. Right.
a very old business family that has been glorious in its history, and it's kind of hit the roadblock now. And it has hit the roadblock because of certain factors happening in the family, and which is all there in this book in some ways. We are explored a little bit, but not to the extent it can be, and the history of these characters. And
Right.
what I want to make if it becomes a show, what I would urge the producers to make is to explore this unique culture of family businesses. And if you look at current Indian history, the older family businesses in India are withering.
Right.
And this is an age of new age entrepreneurs, digital entrepreneurs. And even if you look at the newer companies like Infosys, it's relatively newer considering the history of the
Right.
family business.
Right.
So what has happened to these older family businesses? Why have they not, continued their domination of when post independence? They were the only ones there. And they had the first movers advantage, but somehow they lost ground. This show will give an insight, apart from exploring other things.
Right.
Hopefully, it will give an insight about that dynamic, and I'm hoping that to be of interest to people.
Sure. So, I mean, so very honestly, I'm actually very excited, and particularly the bit that you mentioned about, I'm quite excited about the fact that you have pages of content written about your back characters, because that did come through in the book. I was wondering about it, but it does make so as a reader, I mean, and Hemingway was absolutely right. Your reader would know when you don't know your own back characters
Yes,
or your side characters or your main character for that matter. Like, because and it just comes down into what you're writing. I mean, it might just be a few words about the character,
right.
but what those words are and how they reach the reader is just something you can't really put down in words, right? And yeah, this is a very fascinating concept. I mean, if all the producers out there, if you're making this show, definitely please take this into account. This is something I think a lot of us would be very interested in because it deals with a very interesting convergence of areas, right?
Right.
So, Suman, I just have two more, actually just
Sure.
few more questions, but these are short, quick questions.
No
Uh,
problem. Go ahead.
these are one phrase questions and they are fun questions, so I just want you to answer them. Your favorite cricketer?
Adam Gilchrist.
Okay,
Uh, uh,
any
should I tell why?
yes, yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay.
That's a very
Uh,
interesting choice.
yes. Of course, apart from the style and the destructive power and the
Right.
confidence,
Right.
and it actually will relate to the character that I have built here. I'll tell you why.
Right.
See, Adam Gilchrist retired.
Mhm.
He did two things which stands out in the modern era of cricket. One, he retired from cricket at the peak of his career
Mhm.
just because he was fraction of a second late in responding to a catch.
Mhm.
He's wicket-keeper batsman. Who
Right.
does it? Who do you know in the modern era who
No one.
retires at the peak of his career when his position was such that he couldn't be taken up unless he intervenes?
Yeah.
He was fraction of a second late, and he realized that he doesn't deserve to be in the team. One, and during the 2007 World Cup final,
Mhm.
uh, he walked after being given a not out, and Ricky Ponting was mad, upset of it.
Right.
And when he reached the dressing room, and it's written in both their biographies that Ricky Ponting was so upset that he refused to speak to Adam Gilchrist. That because the team could have lost from that, but he didn't care. So these traits, apart from the destructive power and the confidence and things like that, these traits of playing the game on your own terms and being a true gentleman of the game.
Right.
I think gentleman is a word which is loosely used in the context of this game. This is a true gentleman of the game who can walk in a World Cup final after being given not out.
That is extremely commendable. I mean, and I think it's stories like this which keep bringing me back to cricket. I mean, these are the kind of stars you want to watch, right? I mean, and just coming back to the context of your book, I know for a fact that if I'm watching Adam Gilchrist play, I can be sure of the fact that there's no funny business going on. Like if he's given out, he's not. I know he's walking. He's walking if he's out. That's about it.
Yes, unbelievable. Because even in his final one-day match against Sri Lanka, he was obviously just like any other one-day. He was hitting the ball out of the ground, and he got out at 88, trying to hit a six. Any other player would have slowed down the game and tried to crawl your way into a 100 century. This is remarkable. Absolutely. You don't come across these things all the time, and it's inspirational both for me as a writer and as a person. That I have this kind of an attitude to things.
Okay, so just one more question. So now that you have this book out of the way and it's doing wonders, and you're also almost finalize the show, are there any other books that you're working on? When's your next book coming out, and can you tell us a bit about it?
Yes, the next book is on the media business. I've actually got a few parallel ideas going on, but this one seems to gain some edge over the others. The thing with books is that there comes a tripping point when now this is the idea that's going to run now.
Right.
So there is financial crime, etc. Things that I was exploring, semi-developed, but this media thing, I'm very eager to explore from perspective of how in the last 10-15 years media has changed, and the troll armies, the breaking news, sensationalism, and how they all come together to shape public opinion. And it's a very interesting concept. I'm hoping to put in the right characters in place and tell it from their perspective and create unique situations for them, just like I did with this book.
No, that sounds great, Suman. I'm actually looking forward to your next book now. So before you go, Suman, and before we end this conversation, as everyone knows, we've been doing a contest where people were asked certain questions about cricket, and 5 lucky winners are going to win signed copies of your book. And Suman, I request you to do the honors. Just let us know who the winners are.
Yes. First of all, thanks to everyone who has participated. I'm personally grateful that you chose to respond, and we will have more contests in the future, and I hope to see you there. But for now, we have 5 winners. First is Nikhil. He goes by the handle Nikhil_C05. Second is Nitin, who goes by a very fascinating handle called lunatic_ASR. And the third is Aditya. He goes by the handle of project.bibliotherapy. Fourth is Ritika. Ritika AAAA13 is the handle. And Shaurya AK008.
Okay, then congrats.
You could have made it 007. It would have sounded even better.
Even cooler then. But congratulations to all the winners. We'll be reaching out to you shortly for further details and as to how we'll get your signed copies across to you. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Suman, for coming and doing this live with us.
It was a pleasure. Siddharth, great questions. You have asked me questions which I always like to talk about.
Thank you so much, Suman.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Suman. That means a lot to me. And everyone who hasn't read the book yet, please, you can find it on Amazon and Flipkart. Please go and order the book. I can assure you it's a great book that I've enjoyed. And everyone who has, if you have any questions across, please shoot them across to either me or Suman. I am pretty sure he's very responsive on his Instagram
Yes, yes,
DMs.
absolutely. All your
Right.
reviews,
Right.
all your reviews, all your comments, everything is welcome. I'll respond
Yes.
to all of them.
Yes. Yes. And yeah, please share this video, this interview with people you think would enjoy this. This will be going up on our IGTV soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Suman. Bye
Thanks,
bye.
Siddharth. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.